welcome to Dalmar TV, your favorite reporter here, and we have Anna Simakovsky with Simakovsky Immigration Attorney. Anna has been serving our minority for years now. She's been a lawyer since 1998, and she's been helping our community since 2004. Welcome to our show. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm very excited to once again be with Dalmar TV, to be with you, Sabrine, and to really educate. We are here to educate, so we are excited to be here today.
Great. And we've seen a lot of constant minority traffic to your firm. Can you tell us why that is?
Of course. So the Somali community and the minority communities, the immigrant communities, it takes a really long time to build trust. And so when you build that trust and you bring a member of a person's family, and then you bring another member, and then you bring another member, and then someone wants to become a citizen, and someone wants to apply for asylum, and someone wants to get married. And so sometimes we have generations of clients because we have done this for a long time. We've gained people's trust, and we're present. We are not TikTok lawyers. We are not lawyers that just want to do a quick thing and disappear. We are present, we have an office, and we are trusted by the community. And to gain that trust has taken a very long time.
Definitely. It is all about relationships. So you've built constant relationship with the minority community, which is amazing to hear. I'm glad to be part of it. And I wanted to ask you more about the temporary protected status, TPS. Can you give us more?
Absolutely. So we are here today to talk about TPS. And the reason that we've broken down topics to something a little bit smaller rather than all immigration is because there's been so much community interest in what Dalmar TV is doing. Shafi Shafai is amazing and getting into the community, educating the community, and using Dalmar TV as a platform for that education. And so this is here for the community. And the community has asked us, based on several other segments, to really focus on one segment and get into the meat of it. And then if there are other topics that people want to hear about, please reach out to Dalmar TV and let them know what you want us to talk about, because this is a community TV station and this is a community conversation. We want to cover things that are relevant to the community, and today it's about temporary protected status. So temporary protected status is just like the name states, it's a temporary status. TPS came about in 1990. And Congress established it. The Attorney General is the one that designates what countries get TPS. And currently, we have a lot of countries that have TPS that we will get into. But basically, TPS was an immigration status that came about in 1990. And Somalia was one of the first countries to be designated for TPS on September 16th, 1991.
It's a long time.
Yes.
And what is TPS? What does it do for our community?
Perfect. So TPS is a temporary immigration status, and it provides a platform for people to not have to leave the United States. It has saved thousands and thousands of clients from having to leave the U.S. As of March of this year, there are approximately almost 864,000 people in the United States that have TPS. An additional 487,000 people have initial applications or renewal applications pending, and an estimated 316,000 people may be eligible for TPS under the new designations of other countries. So it's a pretty powerful program that assists many people in staying in the U.S.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So basically TPS is a way to keep people from other countries in the United States to prevent them
from being deported, correct. So TPS is basically for 3 categories of people. So the first category is if there's an ongoing armed conflict, such as a civil war that poses a serious threat to the personal safety of returning nationals. So Somalis fit under that category because Somalia has had a civil war since 1990, 1991. The second category is an environmental disaster, such as an earthquake, a hurricane, an epidemic that results in substantial but temporary disruption of living conditions, and because of which the foreign state is temporarily unable to adequately handle the return of its nationals. I would say that Somalia probably fits into that as well, because they have a lot of floods, they have a lot of droughts, and they have a lot of famine. And the third category, extraordinary and temporary conditions in the foreign state that prevent its nationals from returning to the state in safety. Or if the U.S. deems that how the country handles its nationals is not good. So there are 3 categories of people that fit under TPS.
Okay, that's great. And so how long is the TPS process, or how long can one be granted a temporary protective?
Good question. So mostly TPS is designated for 18 months. But it can be designated for 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. So at least 60 days prior to the expiration of current TPS, the Secretary of Homeland Security, which is currently Mayorkas, he must decide whether to extend or terminate a designation based on the conditions in the foreign country. For Somalia, it's been designated since 1991. Decisions to begin, extend, or terminate a TPS designation must be published in the Federal Register. And if an extension or termination decision is not published at least 60 days in advance of expiration, that designation is automatically extended for 6 months. Now, I will say, I want to go back a little bit, Sabrina, and I'd like to talk about the countries that currently have TPS, because I think that's really important. Currently, TPS designation is for Afghanistan, Burma, also known as Myanmar, Cameroon, El Salvador. Ethiopia was the newest country added because of the civil war and the genocide there. Haiti, we all know what's going on in Haiti, basically gang violence. Honduras, Lebanon was just added about 2 weeks ago, and we're still waiting for the dates. Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, South Sudan, Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, and Yemen. So, as you are aware, and the audience is aware, that a lot of these countries have conditions by which people, it's very hard for people that have lived in the U.S. to return to those countries. So that is why we state, as the United States, and as our foreign policy, that we want to protect people from danger, from war, from famine, from flood, from horrific conditions. So we will allow and protect those people to remain in the United States.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. And then for everyone that's watching, if you have any questions about TPS or any immigration questions, feel free to leave your questions in the comment. You can email us, message us. We would love to help you out. And more about the TPS. Okay, this might be a personal question, but once the TPS runs out, can they renew it, or what are the options?
So TPS, so let's take Somalia for example, because I love the Somali people and I love working with the Somali people. And Dalmar TV was founded by someone that's Somali. You are Somali, so we will, TPS, today we will use Somalia as an example because that is relevant to the clients we serve. So TPS for Somalia was designated in 1991. So anyone that was in the United States before 1991 could get TPS. And again, TPS is for people in the United States, okay? So then we have TPS expiring in 18 months. And so then the United States, the the Secretary of Homeland Security decides that he's either going to state that everyone gets TPS if they were here before 1991, but after 18 months, he can also do something called redesignation, which means he can move the date. So then it becomes everyone that was here before 1993, and then everyone that was here before 1995, and then everyone that was here before 1997, and then everyone that was here before 1999. So the date moves. So it's people, as people continue to come to the U.S., either legally or through the border, or people have been deported. They go through the immigration system and they lose their case, but they still can't be deported if they have TPS. So for instance, for Somalia, give me one sec. So recently, Somalia was redesignated for TPS. So basically, re-registration for Somalis that have TPS is from July 22nd of 2024 to September 20th of 2024. And for new people, so for people that have arrived recently, you have to apply between July 22nd, 2024 and March 17th, 2026. So we are in an active TPS Somali registration period. And you have to be in the U.S. since July 12th of 2024. So that date has moved from 1991. And so think about all the Somalis that have arrived in the U.S. from 1991 to 2024. Right? So all those people under certain circumstances can apply for TPS and get a work permit, but also be able to travel. So if you have TPS, you can also apply for a special travel document and be able to leave the U.S. and re-enter the U.S. So TPS has a lot of advantages.
Which leads to my question, why is it important for the Somali minority community to apply for TPS?
Well, this is the golden question. And I think the golden question is also, why are there so many rumors in the community to not apply for TPS, right? So let's handle that from both directions. So why is it important to apply for TPS? So if you are a Somali person, let's say that arrived in 2020, you arrived through the Mexican border, you applied for asylum, and for whatever reason, you could not win your asylum case. So you went through the system and a judge ordered you to be removed from the United States. Even with a removal order, you can apply for TPS and get a work permit, be able to work, be able to live here, and be able to live in the United States with your family. Now, if you apply for what's called advanced parole, and they've changed that name a little bit, but if you apply to travel and you come back before a removal order, you come back with a legal entry through that advanced parole, and you have a wife in the United States, that TPS allows you to change your illegal entry to a legal entry and get your green card in the United States. So TPS can sometimes be used as a tool to legalize. So that's why people should apply for it. Then the question becomes, why are Somalis, and it's mostly Somalis, a lot of other communities see this as a gift and they want to apply for it. Why are Somalis so resistant? And I think part of it is Somalis a lot of times get their information from unreliable sources. As you are aware, Somalis are a very oral people, and so they talk to everyone about their issues, not only with immigration, but with lots of issues. And they get advice from a lot of people that are not informed about what they're asking about. And so I'll give you an example outside of TPS. I recently had a client in Minnesota who's Ethiopian, and she was married, and she never divorced. And then she went back to Ethiopia, remarried. And I said, well, why would you not get divorced? And she said, well, because people told me that if I went to the Minnesota court and I got something from Minnesota stating that I'm single, that I can just go to Ethiopia and marry husband number 2. And I said, but you're not married in Minnesota, but you're married in Ethiopia. So bad information. And in the Somali community, that bad information really comes from community members that might want to try to help, but just don't have the right information. And a lot of Somalis use notaries. A lot of Somalis go to Banajir Mall, Global Mall, International Mall here in Columbus, and other notary services, other people that are form fillers. And the rumor in the Somali community is if you apply for TPS, you will not be able to pursue your asylum case. So if you have an asylum case in court and you apply for TPS, your asylum case will go away. That rumor is incorrect. That rumor is also problematic because a lot of Somali asylum cases are not very strong. They may be strong, but there's no proof to corroborate the strength. And so a lot of Somalis are incapable of winning asylum because they cannot prove what they are stating. And so TPS protects them from being deported if that ever becomes an issue. So for our audience, please get your information from a lawyer. There are excellent lawyers in Columbus. There are excellent lawyers wherever the community, whether it be Somali or non-Somali, reside. Get a lawyer. Do not get your immigration advice from TikTok, from YouTube, from your grandma. Get immigration advice from someone that actually is a professional in that field.
And for all your immigration questions, Anna Simakovsky with Simakovsky Law does answer your questions, and we will be hosting events and great information will be coming out. So please make sure you are informed, especially informed by the right people. And one of my questions is with the TPS, how long is that application process? Is it lengthy?
No, there's several application processes. So for those that have asylum pending, they can get a work permit through the asylum application, and that work permit right now is good for 5 years. So you don't need to apply for TPS and a work permit. You can just register for the TPS, which is super cheap, and it's taking about, I'd say, 4 to 8 months to approve. So a lot of times, again, the rumor is, well, I don't want a TPS work permit because that work permit is only good for 18 months.
Okay.
I want the asylum work permit. Perfect. We can do both. We can do the asylum work permit through a pending application, and we can just register you for TPS so you don't lose that opportunity in case things go wrong. Now, I've been working with the Somali community for over 20 years, and what I really love about the Somali community is there's no no. No is not an answer. If someone gives you no, then you try to go a different way to get to yes, right? And the reason that is true, I am also a refugee. I'm a refugee from Russia. Refugees are very resilient. We've been through a lot of horrible situations, and refugees can really survive anything. And so no is almost a maybe. And so when we hear that no, we're like, well, maybe, let me try a different way. And why I give that as an example is because if you have a work permit through asylum, why would you not want to also have a second option to stay in the U.S.? Or a third option, or a fourth option? A lot of times you apply for everything that you're eligible if you want to stay here, because sometimes the laws change, the administration changes, you change. There are changes that happen. So you want to be eligible for anything and everything that you are eligible for.
Definitely, yes. And persistency is key. If you want something, you make sure you are persistent enough to obtain it.
Legally.
Legally, yes, definitely. Okay, and so the other thing is, Anna and I have collaborated to host an event for our community, minority Somali community, and this will be hosted at the masjid, and then all the details will be provided as soon as we confirm everything. And then for that event, you are able to come, ask any immigration questions you may have, and Anna will be there and answer your questions about immigration. And feel free to write your information down, and I will provide the details shortly.
And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Dalmar TV, and thank you so much to Shafi. We are truly here to educate, because education is power. And with that, and with the TPS topic, one of the issues that is very concerning, we have an election in the U.S. coming up, and under the previous Trump administration, TPS went away. So there were going to be over 1 million people that were going to get deported because TPS was going to go away for all countries. Now, the issue with Somalia is it's also a Muslim country. So as we are aware, the Muslim ban was a real thing. A lot of Somali and Muslim clients really suffered in not being able to reunite with family members. And TPS also was a program that just went away. They were not going to renew because President Trump thought that people could return safely to Somalia and return safely to Nepal and return safely to Afghanistan and return safely to a lot of these war-torn countries. So there were a lot of lawsuits filed that stopped President Trump from doing that. And then once President Biden came in, TPS was kept going. So for all of our Somali friends and all of our immigrant friends, I would really encourage you to think about who you are and what your values are and what your beliefs are, and to remember that you are immigrants, and immigrants want to have those opportunities to live freely, work freely, be reunited with family. And so I would highly encourage the community, and this is my opinion, to vote. First of all, vote. And second of all, vote for Kamala Harris, because it is my belief that she will keep a lot of the programs, including TPS, and she will expand programs to allow immigrants to live freely in the United States. So thank you so much, Sabrine. Thank you so much, Shafi Mahasinit, and we will see you soon.
Thank you for watching Dalmar TV. My name is Sabrine. Have a pleasant day.